Of course, the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival has quickly become one of the premier barbecue events in the Carolinas, and we want to make sure you can get all the information for this year's event. So we invited Andrew Stilwell from the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival to join us for today's episode. Andrew, before we go another moment, you got to tell me all about this VIP ticket giveaway. Are you talking free tickets for life?
We're talking free tickets for life. If you sign up, get your tickets now. One lucky winner will get tickets to the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival for perpetuity. So forever, as long as the event goes, you will have tickets.
Right on. And so all I got to do is go to pinehurstbarbecuefestival.com, get my ticket or 2 or 3 or 4, and there's going to be one winner, tickets for life.
Yes, sir. That is correct. And yeah, that's as easy as it is, right? I mean, all you got to do, go to the website, click buy tickets. It's all over the website. I know this because I built the website. Click the buy tickets button, and yeah.
You're entered to win. Holy cow. That's an invitation everybody needs to check out, or maybe not, so I can win the VIP tickets. No, we won't talk about that. But before we get into the event itself and the Pitmaster lineup and itinerary of events, like Barbecue Reimagined, the Barbecue 101 class, before we head down to North Carolina Sandhills, a quick invitation for our audience. Please take a moment to visit the Low and Slow Barbecue Show online at our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. That's where you can sign up for our newsletter. We'll send the lowdown on the latest Carolina barbecue news to your email inbox on Tuesday mornings. Also at lowslowbbqshow.com, you'll find interviews with pitmasters from across the Carolinas, including 3 of our participants in this year's Christopher Prieto Pitmasters Invitational at the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. That's Lewis Sweet Lou Donald, Ronald, Mr. 365 Simmons from Master Blend Family Farms, and Southern Smoke Barbecue's Matthew Register. So the conversations with all those guys and more, all at lowslowbbqshow.com. And before we get too far into the rest of those pitmasters, Andrew, let's get started at the beginning. Give us an overview of the festival. Tell us what it is and how did it get started?
Yeah, so the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival, as the name would kind of give away, is a barbecue festival held in the Sandhills of North Carolina in Pinehurst, right there in the heart of the village. It's all Labor Day weekend except for Monday. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got events going on celebrating taste and tradition, featuring some of the state's top pitmasters. Like I mentioned, we've got those 5 signature events, and it's not your traditional barbecue festival. I think we've got a little something for everybody. I know there's a lot of traditionalists who are set in their ways when it comes to barbecue, but we've got some new and unique things, and we've been doing this for 5 years. Started in 2021. That's how math works.
Right.
So yeah, we this actually kind of got its start during COVID, actually. The event is run by Tario Festivals LLC. My dad, Peter Stilwell, his business partner, Dave Droshak, they run and operate a air show at the Moore County Airport just outside of Pinehurst. And they were looking kind of looking for that next signature event. And it was built on the success of the Festival d'Avion, but we figured, given Pinehurst's kind of geographic straddling of the fence between Eastern North Carolina and Western North Carolina, we could do a little bit of best of both worlds. You know, the Moore County area, not necessarily known, like there are other barbecue festivals in the state, Lexington, for example, places that are known for their styles of barbecue. Pinehurst has the benefit of not necessarily having a signature style, sitting right on that center of the state line. So if it's Eastern vinegar or tomato, Western tomato,
right.
We get a little bit of everything here.
It's an open palette.
It is.
Great. So, tell me, now that you kind of give us an introduction and you mentioned it's there in the heart of the Village of Pinehurst, why should somebody come to the festival? I mean, apart from winning tickets for life.
Right. I mean, if they don't win tickets for life, it's still a great weekend. Obviously, Pinehurst, I'm biased because I grew up there.
Okay.
It is a beautiful, beautiful location. The village itself sets up really nicely for an event. We've got all sorts of vendors, barbecue sauce sampling. We're going to have spirit sampling. Obviously, these 7 pitmasters. That's the Pitmaster Invitational on Sunday. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but it's a whole weekend just devoted to barbecue and food festival. We've got the We've got the High on the Hog Gourmet Pitmaster Dinner on Friday night to kick us off. We've got 3 events on Saturday. We've got a Q School grilling class from Christopher Prieto. We've got a Bourbon and Bites event at Pinehurst that's almost sold out. And then we've got the Barbecue Reimagined that's got to be NC sponsored chefs from all over the state coming in and kind of taking their spin on a barbecue dish. I know there was a chef there last year. He had there was a dish that had collards, but there was also hay. It was like hay brined collards. They were amazing.
Yeah. So 3 big days of events, August 28th through the 30th, which Sunday's the big finale. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment or two. But, maybe tell us how it's evolved from that early start, because getting started in COVID, I can't imagine it was immediately a success that it's grown to be here in year number 5.
Yeah, and it was, if I could make real quick correct you, it's August 29th through the 31st.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All good. I just don't want people to show up on Thursday and be like, hey, where's my pork? And it's not going to be there. But
hang out for another night. It's coming tomorrow.
That's right. So how it's evolved kind of in that first year, we had 4 signature events. We had an opening night concert in a what I'm going to, for lack of a better term, an open field in Pinehurst. So we brought a stage, had some vendors, had the Q School class, had the bourbon event, and had the Pitmaster Invitational. There were 5 Pitmasters that first year. Every year we kind of take a look at the event and we see what's working, we see what's not working, we see what tickets are selling, what events are happening, which Pitmasters are, people were jazzed about, which Pitmasters we can kind of bring in as bring some new blood in. So from year 1 to year 5, one of the biggest complaints year 1, and I will be perfectly transparent with any food festival, was lines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so with 5 Pitmasters, the village got very crowded very quickly, and it was a first-year event. We totally get that. So we've spread it out to 2 streets in the village now. We've added 2 Pitmasters to kind of round out the lineup. And what I will tell you, if you come to this event and you leave hungry, any of the 5 events, you've done it wrong.
Is it I'm going to ask you for the truth here. Can somebody come and really eat through all 5 of events without going home with, I guess, whatever the opposite of hungry is?
People can try. People can say that they will, but they're deep down in their heart of hearts, I can't necessarily believe that's the case, because I've been part of all of these food-based events, and I've seen the trays of food that come out for the High on the Hog dinner, and I know I've seen all Pitmaster samples, and people say they can get through all 7 Pitmasters on Sunday, and if you've done that plus the other events, you won't need to eat for a couple of days.
Well, that sounds like a challenge to some of our friends from the Carolina Barbecue Festival, because I know they've got a broad array of them, in the double digits. And well, I can't say I made it through all of them, but I feel pretty safe about going through 7 or 8 or 9 of them. And we'll talk more about the format there. Maybe tell us what's new for this year, particularly.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mentioned, we bring in some new Pitmasters every year just to kind of keep things up. So we've got 2 new Pitmasters this year. Matt Register, who you mentioned is a past guest on this show from Southern Smoke and Garland. We've also got 2-time James Beard Award winner Ashley Christensen from AC Restaurant Group in Raleigh. Yeah. And she's, you think 2-time James Beard Award winning chef, not necessarily, that doesn't really mesh with barbecue, but she's going to be preparing some smoked blue crab and grits on Sunday during the festival. And I tell you what, I cannot wait. I'm very excited. So we're thrilled to have Ashley. We've got Matt actually is taking over for the High on the Hog dinner on Friday night. So he's got a great menu that I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit. Yeah. And we've got some new locations for some of our events. The Q School, which has traditionally been held at the Pinehurst Brewing Company. Again, we will be fully transparent and honest. It's on a blacktop. It's the end of the summer, North Carolina. We all know it gets a little hot and tent space goes quick. So we are moving that to the Pinehurst Arboretum, to the Timmel Pavilion, under a shaded pavilion, which is going to be great. So, Christopher Prieto can demonstrate all of his great cooking techniques. And then Barbecue Reimagined has moved from Sandhills Community College to the B-HAWK Distillery in Southern Pines. So really, really excited for those new locations. But yeah, that's that's kind of what's new this year.
I got you. So really evolved into some premier locations to go along with, a premier event, and maybe to kind of adapt on the things that you've learned from in the years past. Now, as you guys have learned over the 5 years of Pinehurst Barbecue Festival, how do you apply that into what's now a new event, the Smithfield Cup?
Yeah, the good thing we've learned about the barbecue community, and we've dealt with a lot of these pitmasters now for multiple years. Adam Hughes and Christopher Prieto have been here. They've been part of this event since year one, and we've built this community. And fortunately, people come to our events and they're like, "Oh, well, how can we do that where we are?" And one of those was the town of Elizabethtown, and Cape Fear Distillery, who was a vendor of ours. They all got to put their heads together and said, "Hey, how do we do this?" And so last year, the Smithfield Cup was born. It's kind of a North Carolina versus South Carolina. It's I'm going to call it a casual competition, because I know barbecue competitions are very serious in the way that they conduct their. But it's a fan voted, couple different preparations of pork. There's a team from North Carolina, team from South Carolina. It's at the Cape Fear Distillery in Elizabethtown, and it's another great barbecue event. And again, it helps us. We've built kind of this rapport as, we're not necessarily, when we got our start, we were event people. We're not necessarily barbecue people, but we've built that community and built a good reputation in the barbecue community where people want to participate. So this year for Smithfield, we've got some new pitmasters. Keith Henning from Black Powder Smokehouse. I see. I see your hat is. He will be captaining North Carolina. He's joined by Jeff Gross, who's also another new pitmaster. And we've got it's at smithfieldcup.com. I'm gonna forget the name. I'm sorry. I'm dialed in on the Labor Day Barbecue Festival right now.
I gotcha.
But then from South Carolina, we've brought in the Unity Barbecue team and John Haney, along with Marvin. And I'm going to forget Marvin's last name, but he is Peculiar Pig Barbecue in South Carolina. So North Carolina versus South Carolina in Elizabethtown. It's this October, and it's going to be a good time. So after you've digested and gotten your fill in Pinehurst, Elizabethtown's just a short drive away.
Sure, just a little bit further down east there if you're coming from the central or western part of the state. I'm gonna clean it up right quick. On the north, you've got Keith Henning from Black Powder Smokehouse, Jeff Gross from Team NC in Oink and Moo, Walt Monroe from Cruiser's Restaurant, and for the South Carolina side, it's Unity Barbecue from Unity in Bennettsville, John Haney from Somerville, he's with Alvaron Barbecue Company, and Marvin Ross with Peculiar Pig Eats in Charleston. So while a great lineup, and you mentioned, I'll brag on North Carolina. They took it home last year with Sweet Lou and Matthew Register. And I know those guys are going to be coming up on the big Crown Jewel event. That's on Sunday, the Chris Prieto Pitmaster Invitational. Tell us about that, and maybe help us understand how Christopher got involved in this.
Yeah, Christopher, when we were planning this event the first year, we were reaching out to some local pitmasters, and this was right around the time that Christopher was on Chopped. He was on Chopped with Adam Hughes and Melanie Dunia and the gentleman from Redneck Barbecue Lab, whose name I don't know, but we've had the other three at our festival, which is why I know him. Sorry. Not trying to offend anybody, but he was involved in year one. He kind of came to us after year one. He's like, how can I have a bigger role? I've got this Q school that I'm teaching. And this was also around the same time that he was on Barbecue Brawl. So it was kind of to us, it made sense to kind of give him that headliner piece. And, but yeah, he's been involved since the beginning. He's a good partner of the festival, helps us bring in some new pitmasters. I know Ashley Christensen, Christopher helped us get her. So we're thrilled to have him as part of the event for sure.
Yeah, and as we talk about that, maybe tell us a little bit about what the format's like, because it's not like, again, the Carolina Barbecue Festival where you go everywhere and eat all you can, but I think you got something special that maybe sets you apart.
Yeah, and we've got, it is unique, but the way, because of the constraints of the Village of Pinehurst, there's not a gated entry like at Victoria Yards in Charlotte where Carolina Barbecue Festival hosts their event. It is an open village. And so the way we had to kind of bring this together was we've got a tasting card. And this is an idea that I stole from my background. Like, I have a background in my hobby and my unpaid side hustle of theme parks and roller coasters. And I stole this idea from Carowinds and all the parks that do food festivals. They have, you buy a tasting ticket, you go to these booths, they've got it, a lot more fancier than we do. You can scan a QR code and it'll say you bought 10 tastings. It'll be like, oh, you have 9 tastings left. We're a little bit more low tech with the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. So everybody gets a punch card, and that punch card has 7 punches on it. You can go to each of the Pitmasters one time, and you get a serving of meat and a 4-ounce serving of meat and a 4-ounce serving of side, I believe are the weights. You end up with more than 2 pounds of food at the end of this thing. But you go to each Pitmaster one time, and it's not designed as a competition. It's more of a barbecue showcase, if you will. We're excited to kind of have these Pitmasters from all over the state come over, try their, show off their versions of their specialties of different meats and sides and things like that. And but for us, it's also a way to kind of, again, control admission, control food, and make sure that the people who have paid to eat are going to get to eat.
Yeah, and everybody gets you a meat, and you get a southern side. We've talked about the Pitmasters. You can see them at PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com. I'll credit you, Andrew. An easy to navigate website. It's very clean. You go under Festival Events, click down, you see the Pitmasters, and there they are. You'll get to see what they're serving, as well as the side. And Andrew, we won't talk about all of them, but maybe what of those chef menu item combinations are you most excited about?
I tell you what, I'm biased. I know Christopher Prieto does a great beef brisket, so obviously I can't say that because it's really good. He does a great job, and the presentation's fantastic. I am excited, really, and maybe this is my Charlotte bias talking, and also the fact that he catered my wedding. But I'm really excited for Sweet Lou's pork ribs and the green bean chili crisp salad. Just because I know he's putting a lot of effort into kind of ideating the recipe of the side, and he's excited to come down. So really looking forward to that. Obviously, Matt Register's pork belly, and I don't know if you know this or not, but the Pinehurst Brewing Company has some of the best smoked wings I've ever had in my life. So
really?
Benji Ayala preparing the Pinehurst Brewing Company wings. I'm assuming they're going to be the same as they serve in the restaurant.
Why not?
They've got a Cheerwine barbecue sauce. Not supposed to talk about that because Dr. Pepper's a sponsor, but they've got a Cheerwine barbecue sauce that's really good. So I'm excited. Like I said, I can't pick everything, and I mean, you said don't name everybody, but brisket burn ends. Adam Hughes knocks everything out of the park.
For sure.
Ron Simmons with his Mexican pulled pork tacos. I know he did nachos at the last Carolina Barbecue Festival. So it's all going to be really good. And
you mentioned Ashley Christensen's smoked blue crab and grit. So that's the last one. We've checked the box. We've got them all over there. Wow, that sounds wonderful from a talented restaurateur. The eastern part of North Carolina for sure. So you've got all these guys that are selected. Are these the ones that have been here every year? Do you feel like you rotate, or you just got such good relationships with these folks you try to keep them in?
We've had some who, like I mentioned, Christopher and Adam have been with us all 5 years now. And then we rotate some in and out. Obviously, Ron and Lou have been with us for a couple of years. Benji is kind of the local flavor for Pinehurst. Pinehurst Resort is a sponsor of ours. We like to have, involve them where we can. So we tried to cycle it a little bit, bring in, and even if the Pitmaster comes back, they're not preparing the same dish year after year. So, they seem to enjoy coming to Pinehurst, and we love having them, and we love getting to showcase what they're doing.
And y'all do a great job of that. You mentioned Matthew Register. We've had him on the show a few times. He's going to be the chef at the High on the Hog Gourmet Pitmaster Dinner. Andrew, I'm looking down the menu here at Barbecue Festival at PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com. Wow, that's as good as everything else that's on the Pitmaster Invitational. How do you decide? Or again, I guess you go to both of those. Talk about that event and how the gourmet dinner piece fits into the whole puzzle.
the goal obviously is for everybody to, try something Friday, try something Saturday, come to the big event Sunday. Maybe come to 2 events Saturday. I don't know. You tell me. But we work with the Pitmaster. In this case, this year is Matthew Register, and our sponsor, Lynn Hutaff, who's a realtor here realtor in Pinehurst, not here in Pinehurst because I'm not there right now. But we host the event in the Fair Barn, and for those who don't know the Pinehurst area, the Fair Barn is this historic horse barn that was did all of the horse showings back in the early 1900s. It is one of the prettiest event spaces, if not the prettiest event space in the area. And I can say I voted there. I had my COVID shot there, and I had my high school prom there. So it is one of those.
Those are all the life moments.
That's what I'm saying, especially in the way we live it. But it's a seated dinner, and the way it works is those first couple of courses, the smoked tomato gazpacho and the smoked fish dip are kind of like appetizers, and then everybody in the room kind of lines up, and Matt and his team prepare the dish that's going to, a barbecue tray, classic metal barbecue tray. Pork barbecue, shrimp, spare ribs, smoked petite filet, this classic size mac and cheese, coleslaw, corn salad, rice pudding, and cornbread, of course. And you can't go wrong with a little sweet treat at the end with that cinnamon toast crunch bread pudding.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things. We've got a little bit of live music there. There's an auction that night that benefits a local charity, which we're really excited about. But to us, it's a great way just to kind of kick off a weekend full of delicious eating. Everybody comes together. It's a really, really beautifully presented, well attended, well themed night for sure.
Yeah, and before we get into the other events that are going on Friday and Saturday, you mentioned it a couple of times. Obviously, you're from Pinehurst after all the big moments in life there, and you got such a great local support from the Pinehurst community, and y'all are putting such a great spotlight there, and again supporting some local charities. How did you? And it's, although I guess it seems obvious, how did you guys decide to do this in Pinehurst?
Yeah, to us, Pinehurst is home. And it's a destination that so many people in North Carolina, my dad likes to use the phrase an aspirational destination. And, Pinehurst, back in the day, they used to have this Labor Day food and wine event that went away a number of years ago. They were looking for a way to kind of bring back a food centric event. And my dad's company, Tar Heel Communications, Tar Heel Festivals, they do a lot of events in Pinehurst. Right now, they're getting ready to prepare for the U.S. Kids Golf World Championship, which takes place the last 2 weeks of every summer. It is the largest junior golf tournament in the world. There's like 2,000 kids from all around the world. So we've got a strong we've got good roots in Pinehurst, and that was kind of the way we did it. We've got good relationships with the town, good relationships with the resort, and a lot of times we were able to kind of just say, this is the way we would like to do it. How can we, we knew the right people to talk to for support. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, and they call it, I guess, in the fancy world, synergy. A lot of natural synergy already exists in that local community where you've got great connections to start up another great event. And so let's go back to that great event, between the Q School grilling class and the barbecue reimagined, the bourbon and bites, really all great stuff. But I'm really curious about the barbecue reimagined piece of that. It's a barbecue festival. How are we reimagining the barbecue for the event?
Right. It's a unique event. Last year, its first year was last year. We partnered with Gotta Be NC, and they've got a lot of chefs in residence. They partner with the North Carolina Restaurant Lodging Association and do these cooking competitions every year. And they've involved some of these chefs, and they come again from all over the North Carolina. We've got a lot from Moore County this year. The head chef at Ashton's. We've got Luke Owens from Greenville. I've got the list here. What am I not reading it for? T. Whitaker from Buttermilk Boutique in Clayton, so sweet option. Benito Canaran, who's a personal chef. Meg Church from a 27 Lounge in Pinehurst, and they're going to prepare kind of their take on barbecue or something barbecue adjacent. For somebody like T, who is she's a baker. Her business is Buttermilk Boutique. She's going to prepare some sort of barbecue inspired dessert. So it is, to us, it's the most kind of, I would say, foodie piece of the weekend for sure, between that and Bourbon and Bites. But it's just a way for these chefs to kind of flex their creative juices a little bit and prepare something that most people aren't really familiar with, or aren't really comfortable with. Like I mentioned last year, there was the hay brined collards that I believe it was Luke Owens who put together, but don't quote me on that, even though I'm on a podcast and you're quoting me on it. But that is one to me that was like hay brined collards. And I saw the picture he posted on Instagram of these collards literally being brined in hay at the same time. And by all accounts, the food last year was amazing, and we're looking to make it even better this year.
Wonderful. That sounds like such a great event amongst a lot of other great events. And we're working to get all those Pitmasters onto the show. Obviously, we've had some before. We got Chris lined up. He's coming up our next week's episode. So we're excited to talk to him a little bit more about the Invitational. And I know he's bringing sort of a different, we've talked a lot about the eating. Let's talk about learning. He's bringing a Q School grilling classes. You're not going to eat all weekend. You're also going to take something away in your brain, I guess, feed the brain with some great tips. Tell us a little bit about the school and what folks can expect there.
Yeah, so the event, we call it Q School, and Q obviously being barbecue. But Q School is a golf term for golfers who want to make the PGA Tour. They go through a qualifying school, abbreviated as Q School, Golf, Pinehurst, Synergy. Right, we're on it. So he puts on about an hour of cooking demonstration, and he, as only he can, he explains how he does certain things, why he does certain things with his, trademark brand of humor and wit, which we're very appreciative. But there are things that I've picked on. I haven't really attended. I've taken pictures because I handle the social media. But there are things that he says in this grilling class that I still use 3-4 years later. And it's, just because I picked it up from Christopher in the grilling class. But with that, he's going to, he'll teach how to reverse sear pork tenderloin. He's putting together a grilled and smoke pulled barbecue chicken, preparing some grilled shrimp, how to do shrimp on the grill. I know he's got his Ultimate School of Barbecue that he does at his restaurant, Nightdale. And this is, we like to call this an abbreviated version of that. I think it's, he's got the chops of cooking on the Food Network, cooking in his restaurant, all the awards. He was James Beard nominated, I believe, this year. So he's got the chops, and I think he's everybody who comes to this event, they leave with a piece of knowledge that I don't think they would have had otherwise, which I think is the best part. Because you want to come to an event, you want to enjoy yourself, but if you can learn a little bit at the same time, everybody's a winner there.
Yeah, definitely. So let's wrap it up here. One thing we haven't talked about, and maybe that's kind of the dessert for this episode, the Bourbon and Bites menu and pairing. And again, every time you flip through the screens here at Pinehurst Barbecue Festival and all the different events, it's a surprise. The menu for each thing has some surprise. Wow, I never thought about that. So, close us out here, Andrew. Tell everybody what they would experience at the Bourbon and Bites event.
Yeah. So it's at the new, it's not the newest bar in Pinehurst anymore, but they recently renovated the Manor Inn, which is now just known as the Manor. And they have this bar called the North and South Bar, named after the North and South Amateur Golf Championships here in Pinehurst. Each year for the Bourbon and Bites, the Pinehurst culinary team, they prepare kind of these more gourmet, upscale, not necessarily with a barbecue tie-in, but they could be a little bit barbecue inspired, but it is mainly a bourbon and food pairing event. You go through, you've got six tables. That's 5 tables. 5 tables plus a cigar. And there's some really, really cool, I'll call them very fancy words. There are words when I was typing the menu in that I was like, oh, what is a coulis? What is a chapati? Like, I'm just looking at these things. But the Pinehurst culinary team, they knock it out of the park every year. And this is, it is a limited capacity event. It is usually the first to sell out when we sell out tickets. And there's a handful of tickets left last I checked. But you get to pair those delicious bites with some, pretty special bourbons. We've got B-HAWK, which is a local distillery, Woodford Reserve Double Oak Private Barrel, and they've got an Elijah Craig Private Barrel that is the North and South's own private barrel. So if you're a bourbon person, if you're a food person, it's a great night. Plus, if you're a cigar person, each ticket you get a cigar from Specialty Cigars. And there's a bourbon pairing with that. So you get 6 bourbons, 5 bites, and a cigar. I think that's a recipe for a delicious evening, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a pretty good night. And I'm going to call out one of the menu items. Again, you can see them for yourself at PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com, because you mentioned that Elijah Craig North-South Private Barrel. They're going to be presenting hickory smoked Colorado lamb shoulder, Carolina Gold barbecue, and preserved Buddha hand and kohlrabi slaw. And I couldn't tell you what that last part was, but the protein pieces of that sounded really great. And again, you can go check it out August 29th through the 31st. You buy tickets all there at PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com. When you do that, you enter to win the life ticket to the festival. You could be one lucky winner there. Andrew, you've got passion for the event, obviously, in the event space, and this one too, close to home for you. Tell me, as we kind of wrap it up here, what keeps your fire burning in this? Why do you keep doing this here 5 years into it and more?
I think building the community in Pinehurst and building this barbecue community. Pinehurst, at its core, it's a small town. And the people of Pinehurst, you can go places like Raleigh, you can go places like Charlotte, and they've got events all the time. When we get the opportunity to create something in Pinehurst, in our, relative backyard for the residents and the surrounding areas, and people come up to us at the end of the day, and I manage the social media, so I see every comment section. I don't like reading the comment section a lot of times, but I see every comment. And when we get a comment that says, "This was incredible," that's what keeps us going. It's that moment of somebody really enjoyed this that, keeps Tario festivals going, which we're really excited for.
Yeah. And again, they are on Instagram. You want to check them out there, follow along. And I'm sure you guys will be updating when those ticket sales wrap up too, right? So all that at the Instagram or PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com. And that, folks, is the final word from Andrew Stillman. Again, the festival is Labor Day weekend, August 28th through the 29th in the Village of Pinehurst. We talked about all those tickets, PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and hope to see you in Pinehurst this fall.
Or looking forward to it. Yeah.
Or end of summer, whatever it is.
It's just like the festival is kind of on the border of east and west and summer and fall, right?
Exactly.
You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. Share our podcast with your food-loving friends, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can see all the photos and videos of our barbecue adventures and interviews. We'll share all the great stuff from Pinehurst as it comes out. And of course, we'll have it here on the podcast as well. Chris Prieto's coming up next episode, so stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it. And of course, visit lowslowbbqshow.com. You can sign up for a free newsletter with updates about the festival and other news from around the Carolinas, all delivered to your email inbox on Tuesday morning. Thanks again to our guest, Andrew Stillman from Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. Thanks as well to the whole team at the Mesh.tv network of podcast, especially our producer, Andrew Moose. Finally, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, keep it low and slow.